evening, fellow trading addicts. Welcome to the weekly watch list. I'm your host, the Option Addict from www.tradingaddicts.com. And after spending the last couple hours looking over the state of the market, looking over a handful of charts, I'm sure you guys all know the predicament we're in, where the broad market indices are all sitting down here approaching or have approached or breaking down beneath those November lows. And I also got on here a chart of the McClellan oscillator, which is starting to reach those oh no territories, where we start to get into those extreme oversold levels. The lower prices continue to drop here, the more I am getting kind of nervous about opening new short positions and establishing new risks to the downside while the market is this low. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, I think there needs to be a catalyst here to really get things started. But as I find the market in this predicament, I find myself less and less interested with the market in general. Sitting here trying to look over a chart of the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, and trying to look over all the indicators and theories and philosophies to try to determine exactly where prices are going to move next. So I created this little chart here and want you to take a look at this, because this is kind of a broad picture of the 10 principal sectors of the S&P. Take a look. So this chart that we're looking at right here is as of Friday's close, and this shows each of the 10 principal sectors of the S&P based on their bullish percent values. So looking at this chart here, financials, bullish percent reading of 6. What does that mean to you? It means that these groups down here at the bottom, financials, materials, energy, industrials, deeply, deeply oversold. In fact, I want to throw transports into this ring as well, as that group right now is at about a 10. In fact, I think it closed right at 10 in terms of its bullish percent value. These groups at the top, healthcare, telecom, utilities, technology, those have the highest ratings. And the way I look at this is it's on a scale of 0 to 100. Okay, so the stocks right here that are getting closer and closer to 0, to me, these stocks have the most upside risk. Any kind of a rally comes out next week, these stocks are going to run the hardest and the fastest. Which stocks have the most downside risk? Well, healthcare, telecom, those stocks that haven't quite reached the oversold values yet. What do you do with this information? Well, take a look at these ideas here. So if we do see a rally, and I kind of like the idea of buying into some of the financials here. In fact, I took a bullish position in financials on Friday. So in the financial sector, I like Greenhill, I like Northern Trust, I like Lazard, and I like Knight. And the reason why these stocks are still low-risk entry points in terms of their point-and-figure charts. A couple of these still remain on buy signals, which is quite the accomplishment out of the financial arena. With materials being as deeply oversold as they are, we've been riding the agriculture train for the last couple of weeks, which is why I like IPI, AGU, MOS, but also RIG, where we have a position, Freeport, McMoran, Rio Tinto, SQM, beautiful chart there. And then going into the transports as well, we took a bullish position there in Landstar, but also Kansas Southern, Martin, JetBlue. Most of these stocks, again, have low-risk entry points, and a couple of them still even remain on buy signals. I also put an asterisk next to the auto part stocks here, which is an idea we've discussed here over the last couple trading sessions as a great investment idea. And, of course, the stocks backing that up in terms of their charts, too. Most of these stocks starting to break out, showing some pretty unique entry points here. In terms of bearish ideas, the stocks with the highest bullish percent ratings, telecom, healthcare, utilities, these are the stocks I'm going to be looking to get bearish on. In telecom, that would be AT&T, Nokia, Telabs, Quest, healthcare, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, GlaxoSmithKline, Amgen, utilities, Consolidated Edison, First Energy, Dominion, all those stocks that, and utilities especially. I don't know if you've noticed like the 20 to 25% skid these stocks have made over the last couple of weeks. They're trying to play catch up with the overall market. And there's still a lot of stocks that remain on buy signals, which in my opinion means that there's still a lot more downside utilities need to make in order to catch up with the rest of the S&P sectors here. So if you want to play a little bit of sector rotation, here are the ideas I've got for you. Now on to more important things like the list of price patterns. I'm going to start with a couple of ascending triangles that I see out there. And first we've got GXDX, Genoptics. Heading into earnings, I like the way prices are kind of consolidating right through here. Pattern of higher lows, pattern of equal highs. To me, it looks like prices are getting ready to pop. Nice little consolidation at support here on Friday. Pretty good volume here to the upside. So it looks like prices are going to want to break out here and run up to 40 sooner than later. Next on that list, I'm going to give you a little bit of a repeat from last week, and that is Hansen's. And again, I like the way the prices have been pretty steady up here at the highs at about 36. The lows have been rising. So it might take a nice little pop around earnings to get prices to move outside of this pattern. But I think it's going to happen. Next is AGP, Amerigroup. And this isn't the prettiest pattern I've got out there, but you can still see in terms of closing prices, got some good resistance up here at about 30. Good rising support level here, as you can see by the lower trend line, a breakout, a retest. And to me, this looks like a pretty decent trade. And the way it's holding up, the big volume it had here right around earnings, to me, it looks pretty decent. AVAV, I'm also going to pull a repeat from last week as well on this one. There it is, resistance right at about 40, rising lows right through here. Pretty good anticipatory entry point if the market wants to rally. I like getting in down here right around 37. Next is TSYS. Now this is a repeat from last week as well, and we already had the nice bullish breakout. Big increase right around earnings. Big volume coming into the stock. And a nice little retest here on Friday. Rallied off those lows, but retested old resistance right here at about 9. So I like this as an entry point too. Also CF, I don't know if you want to call this an ascending triangle or not. But, with the momentum that's going on in the agriculture stocks right now, I think you got to pay attention to this pattern. This is going to look like a lot of the oil service stocks and material stocks in general, but looks like it's getting ready to take out its highs. Next is AEM, and you know what, to be quite honest, I'm not too sure about hopping on the gold train here. I wouldn't be too surprised to see prices consolidate a little bit, but if gold wants to just blast right through 1,000 and keep on going to 1,200 or 1,500 or depending on where the trend goes from here, keep an eye on AEM. I like how volume's been pretty steady. I like the price action through here. I think a breakout, once it happens north of about 55, the stock shouldn't have much of a problem running up into the high 60s. Again, that's contingent on the old yellow metal itself. A triangle with a little bit more of a bearish sentiment here would be Total System Services, TSS. Pretty good volume behind the stock. Good pattern here of lower highs. I like how intraday it's tested the lower end of 12 and rallied back up. So to me, it seems like a pretty reasonable entry point here. And it wants to go to 12. So why not catch it? Next, a couple of pennants or short-term triangles. CUB. There you can see this price action right through here. Even got a little bit of a breakout here on Friday. So to me, it looks good. Looks like it wants to run to 34. Next, from the old ag space, Terra Industries, TRA. You might even want to break into a shorter term chart, dial down to see what's going on here. But nice little pennant right through here at about 25. On to the flags. We've got CI. I was liking some of the price action in some of these stocks a little while back. Now they're all trading pretty mixed. So with something like this, I like that it's holding on to its old lows. Looks like a classic anticipatory entry point here, but I want to make sure that these stocks hold. So maybe you look for a nice little tick up off of about 18 before you take any action here. Next, I've got SYT. Looks like this stock's been flagging too. Got a nice breakout here recently, and I'm thinking if we can get a little bit of follow through here, the volume was good, and that might be enough to take the stock out above its highs. Next, ticker symbol OMTR, Omniture. Big spike on earnings. Nice little flag action right through here. $10 stock breaking out of a flag. To me, this looks like this should be about a $12.5 stock. Next is MasterCard, and I'm watching this price action. It's been a hot topic as of lately. How you going to trade it through here? That's a question. I like the price action here. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a breakout of this flag, and then also, I don't know, maybe a run up here to about 170-ish, right through that level. Seems like it might be a pretty quick and easy trade, but I want to see a trade out above 160 first before taking any action. Next is Molina Healthcare, ticker symbol MOH. And, I like the idea of shorting some of the healthcare stocks with the exception of Molina because it's held up so well. Compare the performance of Molina compared to how the market had done last week. Held its ground, held up, performing pretty well, and trading in a nice little flag pattern. So if you want to take this one, I'd wait for a breakout of about 22 before taking any action. But that there should signal about a $2.5 move higher. Two more, SLGN. Same thing, nice little run here on earnings. It's been pulling back and flagging right through here. Not the most volatile stock, but it's liquid enough if you want to buy some stock. Probably not a good option trade here. But also, the bottom of this flag finds itself right near support. So it's not a bad entry point through here. Last but not least, Sohu. You can look at this a couple of ways. Recently, big run up ahead of earnings. A little bit of a flag coming right after earnings. But also what you see going on through here is a nice little cup and handle. So a breakout of this handle means it's likely going to 50. When it gets there, you could find yourself positioned nicely ahead of a breakout of these highs. All right, so with the market as deeply oversold as it is, you notice the next couple slides here, I've got a few more bullish ideas than bearish in terms of buying the dips and selling the rips, but I got a few more breakdowns than I do breakouts. So check these out. That'll do it for me, folks. It's a plethora of ideas here for you to enjoy. Like I said, I think it makes sense if the market doesn't see a whole lot of directional action this week, play the sector. Based on those bullish percent values, I think we should see a lot of good sector rotation into this week. Unless the market wants to give you a little bit more conviction on the way it moves. So that'll do it for me, folks. Make sure you visit us at www.tradingaddicts.com. And that's been my watch list. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
Bring the hook in.
I'm just a soul whose intent